Hey everyone, how's it going today? So my name's Anthony, and I'm the host of The Right Take, Gen Z Politics. So it has been a long time since I've made an episode, and I will tell you the reason for that. I can say it now. I was an intern for the Jack Chiarelli campaign team, so they kind of didn't want me making podcasts, so I did have to stop it. I did just re-upload our original episode from June 24th, and that was on the Israeli-Iranian war. So if you'd like to go check that out, feel free to. But today we are going to be talking about the thing that most Americans are very unhappy about, at least on our side. About 2 days ago, it seems that America went into a little blue wave. To keep it short, Republicans lost basically every election that was running on November 4th. And there is a lot of different reasons to that. That's what I want to get into today. I just wanted to make this as quick as I could. So let's just get started off with the race that obviously I care most about, the New Jersey governor race. So whether you want to believe that that's rigged or not, personally, I think there might have been a little bit of cheating in that. At least a little bit. We'll get into that. Whether you hate me for saying that or not, I don't care. It's just my opinion as a person on the intern team. I went around, I talked to people across the state. I went to people's doors. I called people on their phones. I did social media stuff, so I got to talk to a lot of people on there. And just the atmosphere for Jack and the excitement for Jack were unlike I've ever seen before. Even a lot more than in 2021. Yet, as you may know, Jack just lost by about 13 points, Jack Chiarelli. Whereas in 2021, he only lost by about 3 points. So that kind of a shift, when it seems like the landscape is going way towards him, it just doesn't seem right. The polling days before the election had Mikey Sherrill and Jack Chiarelli neck and neck. Neck and neck. Yeah, he lost by almost a safe 15 points, which is the craziest part. And if you want to get into proof of cheating, we just got to look at the news. So there was bomb threats at multiple locations, mostly in North Jersey, in Republican areas. And because of this, they had to shut down a lot of these polling places for hours, which is hours that people couldn't vote, hours that people went home and decided just not to vote. They could have went to another polling location, but let's just be honest, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people sadly don't care enough to do that. So that's a lot of votes right there, at least a couple thousand. Let's be honest. Especially in North Jersey, where most of the population is. Yeah. Another instance is, there was instances of people with their votes changing. Now, I get, they could be lying, or that stuff does just happen, but there was, a lot of people talking about it, especially on social media. They voted for Jack Chiarelli, and it said that they voted for Mikey Sherrill. And many people did contact the police about it. I'm not sure how it ended up. But those are just very small instances. And then we got to talk about dead people voting. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that exactly happened. But fake ballots, false ballots, ballots of people who didn't actually vote but were cast for them. That stuff has just been going around since the 2020 election. Who knows? Maybe before that. But what we saw here, based on the numbers, is an incredible turnout. Incredible turnout for Mikey Sherrill, sadly. That just doesn't correlate to any of the polling, any of the excitement. Nobody really wanted Mikey Sherrill. In her primary, she only won about, 30 to 40% of her vote? She didn't even get the majority of the Democratic Party's vote in the primary. While Jack got over 2/3 of all his party's vote in every single county. That's the excitement we're talking about for Jack versus Mikey Sherrill. And somehow, the polling was tied. It was looking great for Jack. And then he lost by almost 15 points. Lost every county that he flipped. Every county that Trump flipped. Gone. How does that make any sense? But okay, if we do want to say that it wasn't rigged and she really won by 13 points, which, okay, maybe she won, but not by 13 points. But if you do want to argue that, whatever. There is a few things that Jack definitely could have improved on. Once again, I was in his campaign team. One of the things that they told me was that they wanted to shy away from Trump. Although I do believe there was some merit to that, and it was correct in a lot of points, because New Jersey, the approval rating for Trump has gone heavily down. it kind of just seems as a party flip. Well, not a party flip to say, but like a policy flip. And this is what people were accusing him of doing in 2021. And he seemed to do it again this year. He got the Trump crowd rally. He said, "Oh, I'm going to be Trump 2.0." He didn't say that, but he was saying like that he would do policies of Trump and enforce all Trump's policies. And then he turned away from Trump. And I think that disillusioned a lot of voters, especially on the further right. Another thing is, I don't think that he really tapped into the younger vote as much. Gen Z and millennials, they're more important in elections than ever. They're running for positions, they're getting into positions, they're advocating for people. Once again, I'm Gen Z, obviously. It's the name of the podcast, basically. I was interning for Jack. I was a supporter of Jack. I'm a Republican. These are the things that Jack should have capitalized on that he didn't really capitalize on as much. The young vote is what Mikey Sherrill coasted through on. I did read from somewhere that Mikey Sherrill got 81% of the female vote under 30. Which, think of that. Think of how many females under 30 there are in New Jersey. That's terrible. That's horrible. That's horrible news for Jack, obviously. We know that at this point. And that's great news for Mikey Sherrill. Jack got the older people. Jack got the people that, old-timey Republicans, classic grand old party got people. He didn't focus on the people who should have been focused on, the new rising members of Gen Z and the millennials. These people are turning 18 or have been 18, it's obviously especially the millennials, and they're finally getting out and voting. They're saying, hey, I want to get involved in politics too. I want to get out and vote. And that's what they did. And Jack, once again, did not capitalize on that. And he really, really, really should have. Now, one more thing. With Jack's campaign, to be fair, he went everywhere. I don't mean to be so enthusiastic, but this man, he's a great guy. He went everywhere around New Jersey. Apparently, he went to all 635 diners, however much that is, if I was correct on that number or not, but it's somewhere around there. He went to like every single diner in New Jersey. But to get with that, he was going to diners. I mean, he was filling these people with people who supported him, rather than getting out and talking to people in North Jersey, in places where it really, really mattered, in Democrat areas. Now, to be fair, he also did go to those places, but just not as much as he should have. He really should have engaged with the other side. I don't know about made concessions with the other side, but at least talked about policy with the other side. He should have went on more interviews, more debates. He was just at diners. And that seemed to be like almost all he did. And once again, great, awesome. But the diners were mostly just filled with supporters who were already going to vote for him anyway. Not people who were still deciding. And that might be the fault of the people on their own who didn't come out to actually talk to him. But really, he should have went to them more instead of making them come to him, which is another thing. And once again, as I said, he did do a little bit of that, but I just don't believe he did enough. But as we see now, we got Murphy 2.0, who's going to run New Jersey starting in January. She's going to run New Jersey for, sadly, 4 years, hopefully no more than that, God forbid. It's just not going to be good for New Jersey. She said herself she's going to reinstate a bunch of liberal policies. She's going to make teachers talk about LGBTQ in schools, gender studies. She's going to freeze energy rates, were her words. Freeze energy costs. Not lower them. Freeze them at their record highs. Not lower them. She's going to re-keep a lot of Murphy's policies. She even said that she's probably going to keep Murphy's attorney general, who has been well known that nobody likes him. He's a crappy attorney general. He's a liberal. He's a Democrat. One might even say he's a far leftist. We don't want him in New Jersey. Well, apparently some people do, but a lot of people, most people, truly do not want that man in New Jersey. But we do got a lot to talk about in a little amount of time, so we are going to move on from this election. Very sad one indeed. Virginia, there's not much to talk about, to be honest. Nobody really expected Winsome Sears to win. She didn't really run a good campaign. She didn't really present a lot of new policies, any new hopes. It seems that Glenn Youngkin can't run again because it seems that people do like him. But nobody really knows about his lieutenant governor, Winsome Sears. Nobody really knows. Nobody really cares about her. And Spanberger brought back the Democrat values that sadly a lot of people in Virginia love, compared to Winsome Sears that once again provided nothing. If we do want to talk about that election though, Jay Jones winning the Attorney General, that a little bit surprised me. That man wanted to shoot and kill a Republican. I actually, to be honest, I forget a lot of the story to it, but basically there was text leaked in 2022 that he sent where he was basically advocating to shoot and kill a Republican candidate with a family and kids. And this was published. This was his words. This was confirmed his words. And he still won. He won by like 4%, which is insane to think that that would even happen. A Democrat, who, especially after all this stuff with Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump getting shot and stuff like that, who advocated for a Republican father with 3 children to be shot and killed. And the Democrats in Virginia voted him in. Think about that. Just think about that for a second. The Democrats in Virginia voted for a man who said he wanted to shoot and kill Republicans. Why? How? Why would you do this? Why? What goes through your mind? Because he has a D next to his name. Because his political party's color is blue. You vote for a man who advocated to shoot somebody. Because he didn't agree with his opinions. Are we serious? It surprises me and it shames me a lot. It brings a lot of shame to me that something like this can genuinely happen in our society. And then we got a whole bunch of other elections. We got Maine, we got Pennsylvania. We'll talk about the New York City election. We had Illinois. Yeah, correct. Illinois, the Chicago mayor race, which actually went good. And the California Proposition 50, which basically allows them to rig their House votes. Not good. Once again, did not go towards us. We could talk about New York City mayor next. Yeah, let's get into that. So a lot of you know about that election. Zoran Mondomny. I don't even know if I've said that right. There's obviously the running joke that my hat. Look at this hat. It's a beautiful hat. I got this a while ago. I just had it sitting in my closet for a while though. Let's see. I want this to not like. Yeah, it's fine. You guys obviously know what it means. Make America Great Again. You can see that. It's just like popped in a little bit here. But Zoran Mondomny, whatever his name is, Democratic Socialist. A lot of people call him a communist. I'm not going to label him a communist. That's just propaganda. I mean, propaganda against the Democrats, sometimes you need it. But he's not a communist. But sadly, he is a socialist, which is not much better. Democratic socialist. They're different, but all in all, they end up sort of being the same thing. They're not communists. I'm not going to call Zoran a communist once again. But the point is he did win the mayoralship of New York City by a good margin, too. It's about by like 9 points, which, to be fair, is a lot worse than some people predicted him to do. But either way, we see Andrew Cuomo, we see Curtis Sliwa, who should have won, but sadly was not even close. And yeah, Zoran running for New York City mayor. Now these people, due to Eric Adams, their city has been rampaged. Crime everywhere. It's disgusting. Their city's gross. There's trash. Like, if you live in New York City, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I've been there once, and I was in the upper part, so it wasn't as bad, but you can still see what's going on with New York City right now. Eric Adams is running it horribly. Good thing he dropped out of the race. But to fix that, to fix the left policies of New York City, they decided to put in a guy who has even more far left policies. Because why not, you know? If the left policies weren't doing good, then hey, maybe just a couple more left policies and we'll all be fine. No! That's not how it works. You can't just vote in this Democrat and then a couple years later, after he destroyed your country, vote in a farther left Democrat who's going to keep the bad policies and get rid of the policies that might actually be a little bit helping and implement them with way worse policies. He wants public busing. He wants public preschool, all this free stuff. He wants to defund the police. And I know he denies that, but he said it. He said it not once, but he said that multiple times, that he wants to defund the police. But all these things, first of all, it's not going to happen. Denying Trump, denying ICE, Trump's not going to let him do any of that. He's going to get walked over, he's going to get trampled on, and it's not going to be good for him. But all these policies that he says, they sound good. Wow, yeah, once again, free busing. I don't got to pay for busing. I don't got to pay to send my kids to preschool. No, you're probably still going to have to pay. Maybe not as much. You're probably still going to have to pay. And your taxes are going to double. If you think your taxes are already too bad in New York City, well, think again. They're going to double. They're going to triple. They're going to quadruple. They're going to go so high that they're going to be higher than Zoran. Simply put it, they're going to be higher than Zoran Mondamni on a Sunday morning. It's not looking good for New York City. We had Curtis Sliwa, a man of his word, a man who had true policies, true thoughts for New York City, adding, I believe it was 8,000 or maybe 4,000 new NYPD officers. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that number. But he wanted to add more police, get the crime down. He wanted to make New York City more safe, more clean, better for everybody. And then you have Andrew Cuomo, who, as Curtis Sliwa says, a list of his failures could fit in a New York City public library. Because it's true. Cuomo, as governor of New York, don't even know how he got elected to there. We used to make fun of him all the time, me and my family, while he was governor. Because he was a terrible governor. He did nothing for New York State. He did nothing for New York City. And when COVID came, he let thousands of elderly people die in nursing homes. Just because, why not? Because he's Cuomo. Elderly killing Cuomo. I don't even know what you'd name him. There's not even a good name for that. Elderly killing Cuomo. Because that's all he does. That's all he knows how to do. Just destroy people's lives. And he got 40% of the vote. 41%. Which, I mean, okay. He's better than Mondamni, but he's still a Democrat. He can run as an independent. He's still a Democrat in the end. And that's just how it goes. And then you had Curtis Sliwa, who, I mean, I didn't really think he was going to win. I had some hopes. I'm not going to lie. I did have some hopes. I thought maybe it would be a big upset. He got 8% of the vote. He got 8% of the vote. It wasn't even close. Not even close. Because New York City is just filled with leftists, filled with these communists who do want Zoran, the socialists, the democratic socialists, whatever. They all want Zoran, and they just care about getting rid of the right, getting rid of Trump. It's, as they say, Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. All they care about is Donald J. Trump. Yeah, okay, Donald Trump hasn't been perfect in office. There's a lot of things that I do disagree on that he has done. If anything, like, I'd say disappointed on how he's done in office so far. It's not all his fault. I'm not blaming it completely on him because he's been trapped by these Democrats in Congress, we'll get that into another episode. The shutdown's still going on as of now. Maybe by the next time I do another episode, the shutdown will be done, but who knows? If not, then we'll definitely talk a lot about that. But all they care about is Donald Trump. And once again, going back to the New Jersey election, that's another thing. Donald Trump. They portrayed Mikey Sherrill as this anti-Donald Trump hero. And that, I don't know about that. I don't know how that really works. I don't know if that really did work well. Let me adjust this camera a little bit, get this down. By the way, my shirt, Trump Vance. I wore this in my original podcast video. But yeah, to get back on track, Curtis lost and Cuomo lost. Because they were pinned as closer to Trump, especially Curtis, than Zoran Mondamni. Zoran Mondamni was made as this anti-Trump hero just like Mikey Sherrill. This young, new face candidate for governor. And that's why he won. Because he got the hype. He got the momentum by far, and he got the hype. He got the hero status in terms of the New He does not deserve it. He's done nothing for New York. He's a dual citizen with, like, Uganda. He's a Muslim, but we're not really going to get into that. People have their different beliefs. There's a lot of Muslims in New York City. But it's just crazy, and it's horrible to see what is going on right now. But just what happened with that New York City race, it was really bad. It was a disaster for us. And there's nothing we could do to change that now. We just gotta live and learn. But I think we need to get in touch with the younger voters more. We need to get in touch with Gen Z and the millennials. And that is what the Republican Party, after all this time, still fails to do. They still fail to get in touch with the younger generation. The younger generation is the ones who are getting out, early voting, mail-in voting, whatever. They're getting out, and they are voting. And they're voting for Democrats, not voting for Republicans. They're voting for Democrats. They're voting for Democrats, especially in these Democratic areas. And we gotta change them while they're still young, while they're still learning. We gotta get these new values in them. And that's not happening. It's not happening. We're losing the younger generation. Charlie Kirk helped us a little bit to get them back. After his assassination, there was some right-wing resurgence. It's fading away again. And the Republican Party needs to realize that. We don't want these old senators. We don't want these Mitch McConnells, these Liz Cheneys. We don't want them. These are not the people who are going to be heroes for the young Republicans. They're not heroes for me. They're not heroes for a lot of people, but especially not the young people. Like Thomas Cawthorn, I believe that's his name. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. Very young, very conservative Republican. We need people like that. Charlie Kirk, big influence. Charlie Kirk is a massive influence. All these people, these young Republicans, we need to focus on them because they are going to be the future deciders of the vote. And right now, we're losing them. Once again, we'll go to, I'll just briefly go over these. In Maine, they voted against voter ID. And they voted against, or actually for, gun control. That's another place we lost. Because we're not getting out in these places and letting these people know what they should be voting for. A great example of that is in the California election. Sorry, I know we're jumping a little bit. But in the California election, Proposition 50, that was what they just voted on in California. Basically, Proposition 50 was made as revenge to the Texas Republicans who changed the seating in Texas. The House seating, the House districts, got 5 more Republican districts, which is valid because they have Republican leadership. The people wanted that. The people in Texas were Republicans, and they wanted to represent those Republicans. Texas was on a Republican shift, a Republican growth. So that would be most best represented by a gain in Republican seats. In California, the only reason they're redistricting is for revenge, because they're petty. Because they, oh my gosh, Greg Abbott, he redistricted, oh my gosh, we're going to lose 5 seats in the House, oh no. What are they doing? What are they doing? They put in this new proposition to basically change their constitution to let the Democrats take away almost every single Republican seat in California. You should see the map of it. Maybe I'll put it right here during editing. The map of the new districts of California is horrible. The whole entire state is blue except for the bottom right corner, which is red. And they're all safe Democratic seats too. It's not even close. It's not even close. Every single Republican in that state is now almost going to be represented by a Democrat. There's going to be no Republican representation in that state. If you're living up north, if you're a Republican up north, you're in Democrat territory now. If you're a Republican on the outskirts of San Diego, you're a Democrat now. You're in the Democrat area now. And a great thing, what I was getting to with this is, people don't know what they're voting for. They don't know what they're voting for. Fox News did an exit poll in California based on, the question was, do you think that redistricting should be done by an independent, nonpartisan committee, which means that people who won't influence the districts towards Republicans or Democrats should make the maps, or do you think the party in control should make the maps? In example, Democrats. And 92% of people, or maybe even 93%, voted for an independent, nonpartisan committee. And 7%, only 7%, voted to say that the party controlling the state should make the districts. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Because don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure, I just have a slight thought that maybe they just voted 2/3 majority, 68%, to make it partisan, to make it so that the party in control, Democrats, redistricts the state. They just don't know what they're voting for. They just vote whatever the Democrat Party tells them to. And we need the Republicans to get out and tell these guys to no, that's wrong. Tell them what they're voting for. And make sure they don't vote it. Because they just voted what they just 93 to 7% don't want. And they just voted for it in a landslide. They literally said that they do not want that by an extreme majority. And they just voted for it. Where's the sense? Where's the common sense with this? Where's the common sense? There's not really much left for us to talk about. I mean, we could dive back into Jack, because that is what I know most about. Yeah, Jack did run a good campaign. He's been campaigning since he lost, basically. He's been campaigning. Every single day, almost. And he ran a great campaign. Back in, like, I don't know, early this year, early 2025. Maybe it was March or April or something. Maybe even May. Actually, maybe it was even June. I don't know. It was probably late May. I won a $500 gift card because I got the most signatures for Jack Ciattarelli to put him on the ballot for the Republican primary. And man, I got like 360 signatures. There was so much enthusiasm for Jack, even back then. Even back in May, before he even won the primary yet, when people were still going for Bill Spadia, Crayon Jack, John Bramnick, whatever their names are, Ed Durr. But I got yelled at Ed Durr. I don't know if you know who Ed Durr is, if somebody's watching not in Jersey. I got yelled at by Ed Durr because I tried to get his wife to sign a petition. It was actually not even for Jack. And I didn't know it was his wife either, first of all. I didn't know it was his wife. I went up to her at this Republican event, and I asked her to sign. It was for this lady named Amanda Esposito, who also just lost, who should not have lost. And I wanted to sign the petition. And then freaking Ed Durr came and started yelling at me for no reason. And then I told him that it wasn't even for Jack. It was for this other girl. And obviously, I didn't know this was his wife. How was I supposed to know it was his wife? So, what I've heard from him, not even just that, but like from other stories I've heard about him, he's really rude and he's not a great guy. This is a little off topic for what I am saying right now, but that's just an example of somebody who people did originally support. But then they all got behind Jack, except for some of Spadia's people. But other than that, they all got behind Jack. There was so much enthusiasm on the Republican side for Jack. In early voting and mail-in, we were getting in higher rates than ever before. We were still getting outpaced by the Democrats, but we were still turning in our ballots at higher rates than ever before. That showed the enthusiasm and showed that the vote should have been closer. So how 13% we lost by? I don't know. Because we were doing so good. We were out, hundreds of people at these rallies with Ciattarelli. Hundreds of people out talking to him, cheering for him. And we lost. I don't see Mikey Sherr doing this. I never saw Mikey Sherr come to South Jersey once. She was not down here. She was not doing anything. She's not a campaign person. Flying around in a helicopter, maybe. One thing she definitely wasn't doing is voting in the Congress, which she should have been doing. She missed out on about 55% of all Congress votes. She was doing nothing, just sitting back and relaxing, just like Joe Biden. And somehow, just like Joe Biden, she got elected in a landslide into office. How does this work? How does this happen? What is going on behind the scenes that we aren't seeing? Are ballots being stuffed? Are ballots being burned on our side? Thrown out? Ripped up? Changing the vote? I don't even know if they can do that, but what's going on? How did we lose by this much? And once again, even if we did lose by this much, why? What are Republicans doing if we did lose by this much? Why are we not getting out and voting? Why is there not enough turnout, even though, based on what I saw, there was? But let's just say there wasn't. Why? Republicans need to get out and vote. Don't sit on home on your bus. Get out, get to the polls. If you can't drive, get an Uber. Get somebody else to drive you. Get your friends and family out to come with you to vote. Bring them with you or let them bring you to vote. Get out. Don't stay at home. Because then this happens. Now we have Mikey Sherr for at least 4 years. Hopefully only 4. Hopefully less than 4. Hopefully we impeach her or something like that. I don't even know if he can do that. But what happened 2 days ago on the 4th was a devastation. It was, quote unquote, a blue wave. Wasn't a blue tsunami. Hopefully we won't be seeing that in the midterms. That's why you gotta listen
and get out and vote and convince people to be on our side and then to get out. What we need is a strong Republican base. And it's failing. The foundation has cracks in it, and they're not being sealed. If anything, they're getting bigger. The cracks are getting bigger. The Republican Party is dividing. People are mad at each other. There's infighting. We're not getting out and voting because we can't agree. We can't agree, and we can't do what's right and get out and vote. It's better to have a right wing in office than a left wing. It's better to have a right wing administration than a left wing administration. It doesn't matter if they don't agree with you on this or this or this, or you have a debate. You have a debate on it. You debate it. You figure out issues. You come to conclusions. You come to compromises. You even just accepting that maybe they just don't agree with you on that. It sucks to suck. Vote for them, or you'll get somebody who doesn't agree with you on anything, and that's what happened. That's what happened. New Jersey could have been a swing state. We could have been treading towards Republican territory. And we just lost that, at least for now. At least for now. We just lost that. Because people don't get out and vote. And now look, the tide's turning against us. The blue wave, zooming in, the tide's coming up. It's not receding, it's coming up. It's not receding. Just what's happening, it's not good. Listen. You got to get out and vote. You got to watch my podcast. You got to watch other podcasts. You got to watch interviews. You got to learn about what is happening in the political field. If you're my age, join your local high school Republican club. If they don't have one, wait to college. Join the college Republicans. Everyone has that. Every college has that. If they don't, join a Turning Point USA. They have some kind of political organization that you could join. Join it. Get people out to vote. Get yourself out to vote. Get new candidates. Become a candidate. Become a politician. Run for office. Get elected to office. Campaign. Help other people get elected to office. Do something for your community, for the Republicans. Get out. I think this is a great place to end off this episode. Hopefully we'll have some guest speakers next time. Thank you all for watching The Right Take, Gen Z Politics. And this is Gen Z Politics. This is what we need to learn, no matter your age, what we need to know. Gen Z is the future. And thank you for watching, and have a great day. Peace out.